Wednesday, everyone. You're watching Direct Line. Our guest is on his way. He's having some minor technical difficulties, so we will just talk about all the things going on, like about Joe Biden's trip to Ireland, his ancestral homeland. He wants to go out there. What do you
Well,
think?
and there you go. And but he's not going to the coronation, but Harry is. So,
I know, which is weird. You think that the United States president should be at the coronation of King Chuck III.
but his
Yeah.
Chuck three. Yeah. Anyway, um, we'll see what happens like that. Listen, last night we hosted a great event. Not we, but collectively, Republicans
The great
hosted a
University of Maryland College Republicans.
college Republican event in College Park with Governor Bob Ehrlich, and I thought I was really impressed with the really thoughtful questions and the give and
Oh,
take.
yeah.
It was a good conversation that the Gov had
Yes.
with those students.
Just think 20 years ago, Governor was, I believe that would have been right around Sine Die for his first term as governor last night.
Yeah, you're
Would
right.
have been,
2003. Yeah, it's been 20
dealing
years
with,
goes fast, doesn't it?
I know, and it's like, remember he had to deal with, what's the, evil Michael Bush.
I I know, and Mike Miller, a
Yeah,
different
and
era.
Casper Taylor. Remember, we forget, how soon we forget Cass.
Was it Cass Taylor
Yeah,
then? Yeah, no.
yeah, Cass
Okay.
Taylor, then Michael Bush. Well, remember, we
Uh,
knocked out Cass Taylor in the primary.
or in the general.
General, yeah.
It's a completely different Democratic Party in Maryland than
Yeah.
20 years ago.
I mean, here's the, as I'd like to say, Maryland Democrats took a hard left turn when Paris Glendenning was elected in 1990, or selected in 1994, I should say, as governor. That's when they decided to go with the radical, wokey, waxy stuff. But I'll tell you this, Paris Glendenning would be too right wing for today's Democrat Party. I mean, Bill Clinton would never get the Democrat nomination this year. I mean, if he were running for president 4 years ago, he never would have gotten the nomination.
Well, I'd be very interested when we get our guests on because
Mm-hmm.
Christopher has written extensively
Mm-hmm.
on sort of the role of the economic issues,
Mm-hmm.
the really the pocketbook issues, which are effectively being ignored by today's Democratic Party, and
And
it's
that's what pretty much did in, what's his name? Jimmy Carter's, that kind of cut his tenure as president, came to a screeching halt as a result of basically his policies and inflation. And we've got inflation. I know today they're all touting how today's inflation number showed inflation was down, but it's still much higher than it was
right.
when he became president in January 2021.
Well, I think that's going to be one of the interesting. So we haven't had we had obviously the COVID recession, but we haven't had a recession now in
Mm-hmm.
15 years. And it will be interesting. The sort of the tendency has been with a number of initiatives to ignore the economic consequence of policy. So we've had obviously the big spike of inflation that took place after 20 beginning in 2021 with the massive stimulus that was included, and now we have the reaction to that. So it'll be interesting to see how all that uh, transpires.
Yeah, and it's we've got in addition to the bad inflation numbers. I heard this where they're referring to this as I mean they dubbed the recession of '08, basically '06, '08, '06, '07 to they call that the Great Recession. What are they going to call this one? The Greater Recession?
Well, hopefully not that severe, but it remains to be seen because
Yeah,
we've had a little over a decade of very low
yeah.
interest rates, and banks and other institutions have had trouble adjusting
Yeah.
to the
I
just.
believe our guest is here. Christopher, can you hear us? We're still having the same issues. We're getting a little bit of progress. I'm seeing a circle close to your initials now, but you're still not coming through. Hold on, let me try something. It's like it's kicking you out. I don't know why. It's weird. Live podcasting, everyone.
We're doing this in real time. This is actually just to convince people that this is not recorded. This is
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
So we're
Hey, we
getting them
can
in
see.
private chat. So that's progress.
Okay, this is progress.
Of course,
Let
our viewers
me.
can't see this yet.
Yeah, try if you can try logging out and back in.
Okay.
Okay, maybe what we'll do is, Chris, why don't we do this? We're having issues. We'll just have you back on in a few weeks. And today, and I believe it's today Signy Die or yesterday Signy Die, right?
Right. Yesterday.
And we've got there, so basically the first legislative session for Governor Moore. Let's
So
see if this
can
works.
we patch him in by voice, or is that
I don't
possibility?
know. Hey, Chris, say something. I think it's on his end is the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's not going to work.
Yeah. Let's see. Still the same problem, Chris. Let's do this. Let's bring you back on, and we'll work out what issues we're having with your connection on your side when you get back. But oh, maybe this is it. Chris, are you? Can you hear us? If you can hear us, blink twice.
Chris is being held hostage in Baltimore
Yeah.
City.
Yes. By the way, Baltimore City. Speaking of Baltimore City, Mark, and speaking of Democrats past, the glory days of Baltimore City were when William Donald Schaefer, Democrat, was the mayor. He was great for economic development for the city. He brought in, he basically built Camden Yards out there, expanded the convention center, and he did a lot of good for
You
Baltimore
know,
City.
you're not going far enough back. With the glory days were when Ted McKeldin was
That
mayor.
is true. Those were the,
Not that I have any personal recollection of that, but
and Ted McKeldin went on to be a very, very effective governor in the great state of Maryland. He was the Rhodes governor, as he was known as. Gave us the two beltways. They were both they were finished, I believe, under another governor, another Republican governor, former county executive, Baltimore City. I mean Baltimore County. But I mean, it's. I mean, I did a article way not too long ago about how. Actually, now it's probably been about 5, 6 years now. Actually, more than that even. But about how it's basically Republican governors that move the state forward, whether it be McKeldin and the Beltways, Agnew and BWI Friendship Airport, Larry Hogan with I forget what the name of the road is. He did something with I-95 north of Baltimore on this other side of the tunnel or something like that. Governor Ehrlich, put in the Bob Ehrlich Expressway. You liberals would know it as the ICC. We had, I mean, Goldsboro ushered in tax reforms for the state of Maryland. I mean, things get done under our Republican governors. I mean, what have we had under Democrat governors? We had one governor referred to the Eastern Shore as an odd house. We had another governor who decided for environmental policies turning off the fountain to conserve water. I mean, these are the kind of wackiness we get when we have a Democrat governor. Hold on. Mark, just talk about the issues of the day. I've got Chris calling in.
well,
Hey,
we'll talk.
Chris.
We
Wait,
talked about.
is there any way I can use the phone like Nick Lee does and
No, because
We can
that's.
hear him. Yep.
Oh, hey, Chris, we can hear you now, so just talk.
okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So welcome.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
We can hear you. Can
Okay.
you hear us?
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm having technical difficulties on my end.
No worries.
I really don't use Restream. My system is set up for Zoom. I have this issue all the time when I get on with people with Restream. That's why I try to get on earlier.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. Welcome, though. Welcome to our show, Chris. You've written some great articles, and we feature them in our newsletter that goes out once a week with the. And you've been quite the driving force in Baltimore City Republican Party there. Just tell us what's going on in Baltimore City these days.
Well, we got the mass shooting. We had a shooting down here. First of all, thank you for having me on twice.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's been hit and miss the last couple of years. I was supposed to be on months ago. I'm trying to get a better picture up by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a shooting down here at the harbor. Well, some of the youth have arranged gangs that terrorize the harbor on a regular basis now. The harbor's shut down. It's almost abandoned. The shops aren't open and everything. So the youth are running down there. And 2 nights ago, two teenagers got dead after they playing a Wild Wild West at the Inner Harbor in Baltimore City. It's gonna make it bad for tourists to come down here, people to come visit everything. It's just like the Wild, it's like Gotham City down there.
I mean, funny you should mention the Inner Harbor. We've had what do you call? You mentioned the Inner Harbor. We were just talking about William Donald Schaefer when he was the mayor. He was really instrumental in a lot of that development you see right now. The Inner Harbor, the aquarium expansion, whether it be Camden Yards expansion of the convention center. You've got those 2 dying malls in Baltimore City too, right in downtown, which I believe one of them's shut down, right? The Harbor Place Mall or something like that.
That's the mall I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's where they had the shooting. Yeah.
Mall they're shooting at.
And
I'm putting them down there shooting the way they are. I don't know how they're gonna get it back open.
Right.
And our mayor, our baby mayor. First time we've elected a teenage mayor. We was like 12, 13. But he's allowing the youth. You get people shooting people in broad daylight. That gives a message to the youth of Baltimore City that we can just do what we want to do and run wild down here. So you need to send them a different message.
Chris, you've written extensively about how crime affects the city of Baltimore and the consequences of policies that really have not addressed that. I just kind of want to give you an opportunity to give your thoughts. Obviously, this was an issue that got a fair amount of attention in the legislature in the last couple of months, and candidly, there doesn't seem to be much to show for it, is there?
No, not at all. I don't really think they even want to solve the problem. I mean, some of the things that they're trying and saying, like this gun issue, they don't even want people to defend themselves down here. So it's like you want the chaos, you want crime to go crazy, and you want to beg the state for more money. Like there's always a problem in Baltimore. There's always a problem in Baltimore. That's why people like me and the Republicans in Baltimore are trying to set a different example and trying to, give them much help as we possibly can and say, listen, change the situation. We're suffering while y'all guys are playing politics. One of the things I like is Giovanni Pettis. I don't know if y'all know him.
Yeah, we know Giovanni well.
Very good. He's suing the Baltimore City school system. So I think they need kick in the tail like that to get it going.
Well, and you have a new state's attorney. Obviously, Marilyn Mosby was defeated in the primary last year, and you have a new new state's attorney Bates. Any thoughts as to how he's doing so far? Is it too early to say?
I think it's too early to say. He has his hands tied. I'm just going to say it right here on
right
with you guys on the line. I think it might hurt him, but I think he's a conservative. And he's a liberal Democrat on record. But he's not gotten much support from his colleagues. They don't like none of the plans that he wants to initiate. He wants to crack down on crime. And when you say crack down on crime in Baltimore City, everybody, runs like the light comes on their boat is and roaches in the kitchen, right? Oh God, we got caught. You never know who's in that crowd. It could be the mayor, it could be the mayor's wife, it could be the city council this, it could be So the crime starts at the top. And when they defer all the blame to the people and the citizens all the time, like we're the bad people in Baltimore doing all these crimes. But I'm not out here shooting up the city and anything like that. It's most about you. And that's a problem we can get control of with our schools and our elected officials, and they refuse to do it.
Well, you mentioned the school, and clearly that has been another challenge. We had, I would say, some, I'm not even sure it's good news on the Boost Scholarship Program. There was obviously a lot of attention paid to the effort of the governor, Wes Moore, to reduce funding for it. I think there had been some hope that all the money would be restored. But as I understand it, there was still a cut that Moore got through. It's perhaps more a symbolic splitting of the baby. It was not the full cut, but there was about a 10% cut in the program. We spent a lot of time on that effort, and yet I don't know that we really did much to address the education issues. The sort of the how shall I say, the narrative seems to be to simply implement the teachers union program.
Well, I like the way you said that. By the way, can y'all see that profile picture?
It's not coming up on screen, but we do have the caption. You're on the phone with us. Let me get your picture. Actually, I'll put it on. Give me a second.
It up there.
Yeah,
good idea.
I feel naked on direct line without my picture. What you were saying, it seems like West Moore is attacking education. You got to keep education bad here in Baltimore, even though we got the most state-funded schools, public schools ever, but there seems to be no result. So he's cutting this money, but I thought you wanted, when you ran for office, you said you started fixing the school system. And we got promises, broken by this man, by this governor, day one. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why. They want to keep that false narrative that people in Baltimore can't learn, that the people are the problem. The people are the problem. The people are the problem. And every time the people are the problem, we can beg for more money. We can beg for more money. Right. Not knowing that that's an embarrassment on the citizens of Baltimore. It's an embarrassment to me. When I come out with you guys and I'm at the convention and you see me there and you see all the Baltimore City representatives, and I know you guys think, like, what's wrong with Baltimore? Why can't you guys get it together? You
forget we live in Montgomery County, Chris.
Say again?
We live in Montgomery County.
Well, I know. I'm saying, when I see you out there and you look at us and you're like, why can't Baltimore, why can't y'all get y'all stuff together? I hear that all the time. Republicans, why can't Baltimore get their stuff together? We're trying. It's not us. It's this liberal woke mindset that's impeding the progress of the citizens of Baltimore.
So, what are your thoughts about how to address that and turn that around?
Well, school choice is definitely if people get a wind of school choice and actually understand what it means, I think that can turn around the education system in Baltimore just like that. If you can choose your own school, I'm quite sure everybody will pull their children right out of those failing schools in Baltimore City. So I think we need to put school choice on the people and the voters as much as possible so they can understand that they can have a better option for their schooling for their children. And look at the young lady that needed a tutor for her child. We trust the system too much here because we made it into dependence. We trust the system too much, and we say the school's going to educate our child. The school's going to educate our child. They will send your child to school, and 23 schools are not even proficient in math. Right. What's that? That's going to lead to jail or death here in Baltimore. And it's about high time that they allow a different option. Mm-hmm. Look at Republican and conservative options and say, what I'm getting with the Democrats, that's not working. Maybe, the Republicans have a better plan.
And
And we do.
and Chris, also you have in Washington D.C. in Ward 8, Ward 7, which is southeast and southwest. The best schools down there are the charter schools that are basically that are outperforming the public schools. They're even doing better than the schools in the upper northwest area, northwest DC area, the public schools there, uh, in test scores, and they're outperforming. And why Maryland kind of drags its feet on charter schools? Oh yes, I know, because they're a wholly owned subsidiary of the NEA and AFT and the teachers unions. Frankly, that won't allow for charter school or anything that smacks of innovation. Uh, Honestly, they need to. They really do need to push for more. Baltimore City needs. That'd be the greatest benefit if Baltimore City had more charter schools. Frankly, that would
Right.
be.
I mean, you know it. I know it. The voters need to know it.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to vote something different. I mean, I think we can do charter schools now, but working on it while we're not in power, I think the best thing we can do is make the citizens aware that school choice charter schools outperform the Baltimore City public schools 100%. And so we need to find somewhere to start initiating. Just throw it in their faces like, you know what, if we can't educate our children, we're going to call someone else in to do it. So we got better. So when I ran for office, charter schools was all over my platform. Mm-hmm. But it needs to be on the Republican platform in Baltimore City. One of the things we need to scream as loud as we possibly can is school choice, charter schools, public schools, scholarships. If we can't change the outcome of the situation in Baltimore now, we at least can change it for the future.
Very true.
You know, it's an interesting paradox, isn't it, that Wes Moore, on one hand, of course, got the teachers union endorsement with the expectation of kind of what their political agenda. But on the other hand, when he was in New York as CEO of the Robin Hood Foundation, they were very active in promoting and providing for educational choice opportunities. And obviously, I would assume have recognized that value. So it does seem to be not a, how shall I say, a principled position that the governor's taking, but one that is a product of political expedience. So, well, let's say he knows better, but isn't at this point is looking to cut the choice rather than expand it.
Well, when he was running, when Mom and Dan were running, Dan was clearly a better option for Maryland, but a lot of people didn't see it that way. There was so much infighting going on with even us, the Republicans. But I was always thinking about the citizens, and just Westmore. It seems like he had some nefarious plans going into this race. I mean, he knew some of the problems he said he wasn't going to keep, and education seems to be one of the biggest ones that he doesn't want to fix. So you can't rule a city with an educated populace. So I think they're gonna move on that floor than anything. They seem to be moving on killing babies. The quicker thing they're rolling on, killing babies. Kill babies, kill babies, kill babies. And we got enough deaths in Baltimore. They just added more deaths. You know, it doesn't make any sense to me. But this is one of the reasons I became a Republican. I'm a stay a Republican. I'm never going back to Democrats.
And Chris, you know, as going back to charter schools, I mean, cities like Philadelphia have seen great success. Philadelphia, New York, a lot of pretty much every big city in America has seen great success with charter schools. The fact that because Governor Moore, the mayor of Baltimore City, they all feel beholden to the teachers unions. That is the reason we don't have school choice, charter schools. You know, I think we should even offer. What are your thoughts on tax incentives for parents in the inner city that send them to parochial schools or other private schools? You know, I think my personal thoughts are they should have some tax relief for that as well. You know.
Well, one of the things that you said, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah.
You're
One of the things
fine.
you said, yeah, we the unions, the special interest is out of control here in Baltimore. I mean, you can just buy a politician nowadays. You know, someone's running for office. I don't understand why the Baltimore City Police Department even gave their endorsement to Westmore. I just don't get it. You know, they're talking about defunding the police, but as far as tax incentive, we want to put stuff on the ballot. One of the initiatives that got passed here in Baltimore is with term limits. And most of those initiatives, a lot of people don't realize on the ballots when they come up they're from the elected officials. But we, the people, can put initiatives on the ballot. So one of the initiatives I wanted to put on the ballot, well, we got to get enough signatures, is to lower taxes here for the people in Baltimore. And they'll find every excuse and every reason in the world when we put an initiative on the ballot that it's not from the people. It's not from the people. It's a certain group. It's Fox News. It's this. It's that. But when they put junk on there and we vote for it blindly and pass it, and it's usually about money. We need more money for this, more money for that, more money for this. And we check yes all the time. A lot of people think the people in Baltimore are, I say, miseducated, not dumb. I want that to be clear. I used to think that way. Oh, we're just stupid. But no, we're not stupid. We're miseducated, because when we pull that yes lever, we're pulling that lever saying, yes, we want lower taxes. Yes, we want better schools. Yes, we want you to fix the problem. And then they take that money, and next thing you know, the mayor's in jail, the state's attorney's being indicted, because everybody's just stealing in Baltimore. When Governor Hogan said he wanted a couple of initiatives that he had to fight crime, and they wouldn't work with him, I felt so bad for us as a state and a city. I mean, we just can't even, solve this problem. It seems like whenever someone from the state say, listen, Baltimore, do you need some help? The first thing is they're met with is aggression. Well, we don't need you to come in here. You know, blah, blah, blah. You're going to do this. You're racist. There's always this racist stuff. Racist. But you're not doing a better job. And I'm glad Hogan stood up to him. But we need somebody from the state level, which we don't have anymore. Once Westmore's in there, he's just going to do whatever they do and make Maryland Baltimore. And now we won't have to get Maryland to come into Baltimore and change Baltimore. Baltimore is going to change Maryland if we don't pay attention. But one of the initiatives that we're trying to put stuff, we the people, put stuff on the ballot for the people to vote on themselves. We're quite sure the people are smart enough to see it and say, you know what, I want lower taxes, and hit that lever and say yes. They did with term limits, so we're going to move like that in the future.
You should definitely talk to Robin Ficker. He's been very instrumental in getting a number of initiatives, ballot initiatives in Montgomery County, including term limits, as well as property tax limitations, which they kind of watered it down. And they can't seem to understand I don't think they understand. Mark, what was the controversy? They don't seem to understand what a supermajority is.
Right. Well, the issue is whether or not when they expanded the council.
I talked to Robin when I was down at CPAC. I saw Robin down at CPAC. By the way, I'm going to get to one of the letters that you referred to earlier. The letter was called Black Lives Matter, but our Black Lives Value. But I'm going to just get on Robin Ficker real quick. Robin Ficker, since you mentioned him, he's been very helpful to us here in Baltimore. He's always concerned about Baltimore. He's always trying to help us out as much as possible. It's people like him that we glad that are around and helping us in Baltimore. So I will reach out to him and see what we can get on the ballot this year, and see if especially with that voice, with him coming that butt kicker Ficker, coming to Baltimore. So he'll get a lot of spotlight on stuff. So I'm gonna talk to him. As far as that, one of the letters, if you read one of the letters, I don't know if you ever read Black Lives Matter, but our Black Lives Value. I wrote that letter in anger because it was a shooting here in Baltimore. I think it was a police officer. A police officer got gunned down in South Baltimore. And I was very angry. And I'm like, we say we value, these slogans are not changing anything. People are always marching. I don't march. I swear, I need a Nike promotion. I don't march so much. I swear they should give me boots. They should give me boots and have me advertise their boots. I don't march till I'm blue in the face, and nothing never changes. And it took me a while being a community activist, realizing that it needs to change from the local government level. Because every time that people stand up and march, and we take a step forward, they take two steps backwards with some sort of legislative that holds us back. Now they're saying that we can't carry guns in public areas. That means we can't carry a gun anywhere in Baltimore to protect ourselves. The liquor stores on the corner, the schools here, the schools there. But the people can't even, you call the police and something happens, the police gets there 30 minutes later. So Kim Clayton came down here and she did a video behind Tamu, right?
Excuse me, who?
Tamu Davenport.
No, I have not had the pleasure.
All right, she's a veteran Republican, and Kim Clayton came to shoot a video about the drugs, and behind her house near the CVS where it was burnt down. That was a big mistake for Kim Clayton because she got surrounded by drug dealers pretty quick, and my phone started ringing. They was like, Kim Clayton's down there, and the drug dealers surrounded her, and I was like, well, get her out of there, get her out of there. And they was like, well, they telling her to call the police. I was like, she'll be dead before the police get there. Get her out. Get her on the phone and tell her, get in her car and leave. The police showed up 30 minutes later to ask us what the problem. I was like, good Lord, what good is you guys? 30 minutes later, we clean up bodies here. Mm-hmm. But we gave her the best advice and she left. But just think if she was armed. She would have been better if she was armed. And she whipped out her gun. I'm quite sure she's a better shot. I've seen Kim shoot before. I've seen her Second Amendment, respecting her Second Amendment rights. I'm quite sure she can shoot better than they can. So if she was armed, they probably wouldn't even gave a big fight to her. If they saw a gun on her, her hip, they probably would have just let her leave in peace. But it turned out to be a bad situation because those drug dealers were back there and she was back there with a camera. They got guns and she has a camera. So she's already outnumbered. But in my letter, I was so angry. I was like, I don't want to hear another empty slogan about Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. If we out here killing cops in cars that are just as black as you are. And I don't understand it when there's all this shooting and defunding the police here in Baltimore City when we have a out of control crime problem. I just don't understand what the mayor is doing.
Go ahead, Mark.
Let's talk a little bit about economic development. And I know you referenced the fact.
Now he's on mute.
Oh, basically, what Mark is talking about is economic development for Baltimore City. Kind of how things are going. What are the prospects? One of the things with Baltimore City is there's a clear lack of jobs. And I think what is the city's plan or lack of plan to attract new businesses to the city?
Lack of is more like a kid. Is he on me? Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you. Mark,
yes.
No, Mark, can you hear me?
Yes, fine.
We can't hear Mark.
Go ahead.
You can't hear? I can hear Mark. Can you hear me, Chris?
Oh, I can hear you, but I can't. Okay, I got you.
Okay.
All right, let me see something real quick. Okay. Hold on just a second. Sure. Just a second.
We are live after all, everyone.
All right, now, Mark, say something, Mark.
Okay, we're talking about economic development,
yes.
And I wanted to talk.
I can hear you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. In your biography, you talk about the fact that your grandfather was I think had a restaurant, was an eating establishment. And I just wanted that I was struck with that, Christopher Blanton, and I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on what the prospects for, not looking to the city or the state or the federal government, but opportunities for developing businesses to reinvigorate communities.
Thank you for that question, by the way. I love it when people bring up my grandfather, Christopher Blanton. Victor Clark knows him. But when I joined Cincinnati, he came up to me and said, I knew your grandfather in the community. My grandfather was a great community active, had a great eatery brand carry out in West Baltimore. He was actually doing community active work and had a business there. And he wanted me to take over, but in hindsight, you can't play in front of that restaurant anymore. It's bottles, Hennessy bottles, teddy bears and cheeses left and right in front of that business. So economic development in Baltimore, one of the things I think will help that is Donald Trump's Opportunity Zone program. Doc Cheatham in West Baltimore has been asking for Opportunity Zone to go through West Baltimore for the longest time. And Kim took him to meet President Trump to talk about it. That's on my platform again, and I really want Opportunity Zones to revitalize the area, bring businesses back. But as of right now, no, businesses are leaving left and right. Even if I had a restaurant, and my grandpa was left it to me, I don't think it would be open like that. I think it would bullet holes left it right, and especially me running for Republican.
Yeah.
They probably would have. When we know where he worked at, we know where he's going to show up.
Mm-hmm. And we saw what happened after the Freddie Gray riots in Baltimore City. CVS decided to close up shop, and I don't think I can really blame CVS for closing their doors. When when local law enforcement wasn't doing anything to protect CVS's business that's there. And now I don't know if Baltimore City's seeing this, but we're seeing this in DC a lot. Is smash and grab robberies where kids come in there in packs and they just rip stuff off left and right. I don't know if you're seeing that in Baltimore yet, but we're seeing that in DC a lot. And then there's
I see that in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Times.
And
when the CVS burned down, that one you talked about,
yep.
My brother was working at it, and they just ran in there, just took everything off the shelf. And the businesses are not gonna come back to Baltimore knowing stuff like that is happening. It's gotten worse. It hasn't gotten better, Mark. To answer your question, Mark, it's gotten worse. So anytime the harbor is closed, in the harbor is where people are supposed to come and spend money in Baltimore and look and say the harbor's all built up, it looks good. But you can't go down there no more. Someone's going to come up from out of town and get shot. And I hate to say that on the line right now because most people in Baltimore, in my central committee, don't like broadcasting that because they think most people don't want to come to Baltimore. Well, until we fix this public safety problem, I don't think businesses are going to come back here. But the opportunity to go on program that the Republicans had can solve that overnight.
You saw like Harbor Place, they're gone now. They shut down. And the biggest reasons Harbor Place shut down was because of the crime. Businesses, I think there was maybe the last, I saw there's a guy on YouTube, Ian Martin. He does a lot of these things with abandoned places in Baltimore City. He's done stuff on the neighborhoods of Baltimore City. He's done really great stuff. I should definitely check him out. But he talks about how you got Harbor Place, where it used to be a thriving place. I remember when I was in middle school, we did a field trip to the aquarium and we had lunch at Harbor Place Mall because they had a lot of restaurants there. And now that that's gone, I'm willing to bet the aquarium's also taking a hit on visitors because of the crime, as well as the B&O Railroad Museum, which is one of my favorite places to go in Baltimore City, actually. And I know people that have given up their Orioles tickets because they just don't feel safe going to Camden Yards these days. Did they have a shootout a couple years ago in the middle of an Orioles game right there where they had to lock everyone in place, so to speak?
Right. Well, I'm glad you mentioned the aquarium. Mark, have you been to the aquarium?
Yeah, I've been to the aquarium. Yep, it's been a while.
Right. I hate to say it, but someone got shot right in front of the aquarium about a year back. Right. So when you talk about hurting businesses, they're open down there and someone got shot right in front of the aquarium. I don't know if it was a customer or whatever, but they had some kind of altercation right outside the aquarium while they had visitors there and someone got shot. So yes, even they had taken a hit. And the whole harbor was for everybody to come down and see it. So I'm glad both of you guys came down there and seen it. But it's a lovely spot. But with crime going out of control like it is, I don't think none of these businesses are going to survive. Except Under Armour, for some reason. Under Armour got the opportunity zone money that President Trump promised in 2020. And I don't understand how it got down to Under Armour and not the hardest hit areas of Baltimore that actually need it. They seem to be doing fine, but the businesses around the harbor are doing awful. It seems like they're putting more money into Harbor East. Have you ever seen Harbor East?
Harbor East, is that, what area is that exactly? Is that like down by Fells Point, near Bond Street and so on? Is that area, Christopher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're putting more money down there where Under Armour is more than anything. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's going to bring tourism back. I don't think that's going to bring back businesses. They need to put it into small businesses for the area where people live in, like Mondawmin Mall. They need to revitalize West Baltimore. put more businesses back there, revitalize that whole area, and make it better for the citizens that live down there. And
I was thought Mondavi was in. I was thought
Go ahead.
Mondavi was in Baltimore County. Is that in the city, or does it like?
It's in the city.
Yeah, okay. I just thought it was in the
It's the,
county for some reason.
So Chris, your church, New Shiloh Baptist, has sort of taken over the years a project of revitalizing the immediate area around it, with where the church moved to a number of years ago, and has built housing. Do you see that as a model of sort of the private initiative to be able to pick out particular parts of the city to revitalize?
Wow, Mark, I'm glad you know about my church home. New Shiloh Baptist Church. Yeah, that model can work. And well, with the hits church, the church is gonna take a hits now. The devil is everywhere, and we as conservatives need to stand up. But yeah, a model like New Shiloh had, we call it New Shiloh Village. It started with the church. They bought the old folks' home, and they revitalized that and opened that up. They bought a school, and they bought up most of the residential housing around there for people to live in. I was actually going to move into one of the houses right across the street from New Shiloh, but most of those projects have been put on hold because of lack of funding. And with the church taking the culture war hit that it's taking right now, it still remains to be seen whether we can bounce back from all this and continue the program in New Shiloh Village. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That a program like that can work all over the city. But our churches have to be in agreement with each other and not in competition with each other.
Right. So what you're saying is there's more that could be done with more funding right now.
Yes, yeah. If people put God first as much as they possibly can, the Bible says put God first and everything else will be appointed for you. I live by that and I understand that very much. If people put God first, they can actually do it. And the churches have been setting an example and revitalizing the area way before any politician even thought about it.
So we're coming up, believe it or not, on about 45 minutes. We did cut you a little short at the beginning, but I wanted to give you, you have written quite a bit. You do a lot with. We like to pick up your stuff, but it gets published elsewhere, and we're happy to kind of take it off and give credit to where it's appearing. So, what are the topics that you're thinking about writing about now?
One of the topics I'm working on right now is drag queen story hour. As you know, me and KJ McKenzie boycotted drag queen story hour earlier this year, and we plan on doing it again. But I don't think enough attention is being given, and this is by the county more than the city, because they're all over the planet. And I think Republicans, they say, they call it right wingers when we came down there. But I don't think it's right wingers. I think it's common sense citizens and standing up to over-sexualization of our youth. And if you're going all the way down to the baby level, the 5 and 6 years old, we have drag queens dancing all around them and with their body parts out and having them sit on their lap. I think it's our time we as citizens need to stand up and say enough is enough. I don't care if I'm going to get canceled or whatever, but when you put your hands on our children, we have a problem.
And Chris,
so one of the articles I'm writing right now is The Horrors of Drag Queen Story Hour. That's the title. The horror. You're going to see it very soon. The Horrors of Drag Queen Story Hour.
So also, Chris, you're on the Baltimore City Republican Central Committee. Tell us what's going on in Baltimore City with the GOP. How are things going there? I'm assuming you're hard at work working on a Lincoln Reagan dinner, and you guys did a fabulous one last year with Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears. We all look forward to coming again this year to your dinner.
Yeah, we had a ball.
What's
Mark,
that?
I was there.
We were there.
Yep.
Mark, I saw you at the first one. You had the second one?
Yeah, the club did a table, yeah.
Yeah, we're working on that right now. But we're trying to make it as spectacular as we possibly can. The last two were just God. That's all I can say. It's just one of the people on our Central Committee, Blair Free, she's like, how do you guys know how to do this? You've never done it before. And I told her, have you ever heard of the Black Barbecue? Have you guys ever heard of the Black Barbecue?
No, I have not.
Reunion. In Baltimore City, they had this big reunion, the Black Barbecue, everybody come, West Side, East Side, and at the 5th Regiment Army. And that's why I got the idea. You know, I was like, we could do a Lincoln Reagan dinner just like that, especially with a speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And just, you know, have it all out, food and entertainment, and, you know, have a grand old time for the Republican Party in Baltimore City. So we did it. Yeah, we plan on working on doing another one. But as far as some of the initiatives, like you've heard some of the, you know, I hate to put our strategy out on the line here because, you know, our enemies can listen in too. But one of the things we're trying to do as much as possible is we're trying to counter this voter registration. I know you guys heard about it in the executive meeting. This voter registration with the NBA, working with the Democrats, we all together have to come up with a different strategy to combat that. I mean, we got to find another institution or government entity that can register voters for Republicans. Now, I know when people go up to the DMV, they're pushing them to vote to register Democrat. I just know they don't. But maybe we should go up there and you know, check it out and put a table at Jackson. Can we actually register people in the DMV for Republicans? I work with a group called Walkaway. You know Walkaway, Maryland?
Yep, I'm from Walkaway, yes.
I think Walkaway, Maryland should investigate that and go up to the DMV and sign people up for Republicans. And that's one of the things we're working on right now. I haven't told Chairman Kennedy that we should use Walkaway, but I think Walkaway will be better added than the Central Committee member going up there. I mean, I'm not expecting any trouble or anything like that, but Walkaway is very good at registering new voters. Also, we're trying to put more initiatives on the ballot. The term limits have been challenged. I mean, they just completely. I got laid out. I can't mention his name on here. I saw one of my elected officials, and he said, "Damn y'all, what y'all did with the damn term limits, you skunklers." And he called me this and he called me that, and he's like, "You guys pull that again." He said, "We're already planning on trying to repeal it, and but we got to work twice as hard. We got it on the ballot. We got to work twice as hard to keep it." So the liberals down here are just gearing up for an assault from now they're calling up they first went from no Republicans now to those little Republicans in Baltimore. Those little Republicans making noise and causing problems for us and stuff like that. So they know we're here, they know we're ready, they know we're not going nowhere, they know we got an initiative in our community coming out. And Dwight, by the way, you help us out a lot. You know what I mean?
I do what I can. And, and your meeting is next week, right? Your Central Committee next Thursday, or is it the Thursday after?
Next week.
Okay.
20. I hope you guys come down.
Yeah, I will. I'll be there.
Okay.
I got a little something for you guys, you know.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We should give you the last word. We've come up almost on 50 minutes so far. So what are your final thoughts, Chris?
Thank y'all for having me on. We got to do this again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got to do it with your face. That's what we got to do. We got to get the camera going.
We do. We just have a picture.
We got the picture, but we got to get you. You know, see you talking.
Right. I'm gonna get Giovanni Patterson. He's my tech guy. I'm gonna get him as best I can to set up and stream on my tablet. I have a tablet. I don't have a laptop.
Yeah, you know, Governor Allen, when he's on, he does it with his tablet as well. So.
Right.
It does work.
I'm gonna get Giovanni to set it up on there. So, but as far as my last word, thank y'all for having me on. It's a pleasure. Both of you doing so much good work in the NDGOP, and I appreciate you so much for reposting my articles and everything like that. I'm going to continue to raise the level of the Republican Party in Baltimore City. I want people to know as much as possible that we have a voice. That's why I write as much as I do. And you see the letter KJ wrote a letter. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. Yeah, we put that in our newsletter today. Actually, it went out today.
So it's catching on.
Yeah.
And the conservative voices in Baltimore City need to come out of Baltimore City And you in Montgomery County, you're hearing us. The MDGOP is hearing us. The state is hearing us. Even Westmore is hearing us.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to let them know that we're conservative, we're here, and we're not backing down. And I think this is a message to hold MDGOP. As we unify together, we need to say this to them. We're not going nowhere. They keep thinking that we're dead. After the section, the MDGOP is dead in Baltimore. That's not true. We're gonna come back and if anything, with a heart and soul of Maryland, and we're gonna bring it back, make Maryland great again. That's what we're gonna do. So and I'm on Facebook at Chris Anderson 2020, and I'm on Twitter at C Anderson 2020.
Great.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for being on,
your joining
and
us.
we'd love to, and we can't wait to have you on again.
Anytime, both of y'all, anytime. Both stand-up gentlemen, and I'm glad we're still in DGOP doing our thing.
Cool. Good night, everyone. We'll see you on next week. We're going to have a special guest, Ella Ennis, to talk about the legislative wrap-up. Thank you, everyone. Good night, everyone. See everyone next week.
Right.